Hey, my name is John. I wanted to share my journey from no code to developing and designing with AI, as well as some of the differences in what it looks like to build software applications with no code versus AI right now. I've been building them for enterprise clients, SMBs, even personally for myself for many years. Is the CRM, the customer relationship management tool. Why do I want to redesign this? CRMs like Salesforce deliver value, but generally the UI kind of sucks. People don't like using them. So I want to redesign it in a way that we've always wanted the CRM to look and feel. We're going to use two tools today, or at least two main tools. First is a popular no-code tool called Airtable, and secondly is a popular AI development tool called Cursor. All right, let's hop into Airtable. CRM is just one of many use cases you can build with Airtable, similar to other no-coding tools like Bubble, Notion, or CodeUp. And while I would normally start with the template back in the pre-AI world, and you can see here, you can start from a CRM template or a project tracker. What they're promoting is actually starting with AI, describing the thing that you want to build, and then refining it as you go. It says start with an idea. So I would click CRM. I've also put together a PRD or a product requirement document for the type of thing that I want to build. I'm just going to copy and paste that PRD from my write-up. Here it outlines the key tables and pieces of data. This CRM actually won't have an opportunity tracker, even though that's super common with most. I wonder how well that's going to do. Let's do some thinking AI. Talking through the personas. That's pretty cool. The first thing that comes out, it looks like I have clients. They connect to activities, conversations with them. They have created a sales dashboard. That looks great. I'm ready to create this app. Let's go. I have my clients, people, activities. If I go to clients and I click on the client itself, there's a little panel that comes up. It has some of the key, that's funny. It even puts in jokes into this. This is awesome. It has the key people. The relational database is already set up. I add a person. Can you add a totally net new person? It automatically associates it back to the client name. If I go to the people side, James Knowles there under client. Cool. It already connected all that. What if I wanted to change the view of this? It looks like a good filter, has all those already down. Edit app. Here is the visual development side where I can change some of the interface design, rename that, drag and drop these fields in redesign. This is more of a database. I can publish this interface and others can come into this application. All right, now for the coding and development side. Instead of using no code, what happens if we were to actually implement this in code with the assistance of AI? One would be using a visual development interface like Subframe. You can actually start with AI. I usually start with the design itself. You can drag and drop components, search bar or visualization. These are all JS library components. Another would be downloading a library like Magic UI that has a ton of those components that are more just like on their own and not really connected within a visual system. And then the third, for an open source CRM on GitHub, clone the repo into Cursor and start from there. Here, I've already loosely done the design. And now what I want to do is get it into code. I'll start with Cursor, get the prompt, and then head over to Cursor, paste this in, and begin from there. Here's Cursor. Two reasons I chose Cursor. One is for the local development environment. I just liked it more than Windsurf. Secondly, there's a whole bunch of online IDEs, which actually do a bit of a better job deploying. You can see your software application in V0, Replit, Lovable, and Bolt. But I found the flexibility wasn't as good. Cursor was the right fit for me, though I've had a lot of success using those other platforms. The first thing that I like to put in before having the chat and prompting, I've already written my PRD over in Obsidian, copy and paste it over here. I've also seen people open up Cursor settings, head over to rules, and add a new project rule. This is project spec. so that AI doesn't go off and start developing new stuff or overwrite old stuff. This has been helpful as well. I'm not sure which way is better now. You can comment and let me know which works better. We're going to pull in stuff from Subframe instead of starting totally from scratch. I'm going to copy and paste those prompts. What it's doing is it's pulling everything from Subframe to initialize the project, the GitHub repos and all the frameworks that Subframe is using in the drag and drop interface. You can see that I have actually called out that I want to use Tailwind, and Subframe uses that as well. Bringing all those nice Google fonts. And it looks like it didn't work. I'm going to add this to chat and see if it resolves. It's using Vite here. I slightly prefer Next in live applications, but Vite is a super lightweight framework, excellent for prototyping, so I'm probably just going to keep that. All right, let's see if that worked. That did not. This process of just going with the flow and debugging, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. All right. Maybe this is working. Maybe it's not. I'm going to go to the next stage and see if we need to come back to this. So here I'm copying the full prompt. It looks like the code base is not indexed yet. Maybe I should wait for indexing. While we're waiting, let me share the story of how I first got into no code. Here it goes. Okay, it looks like that first page is, I don't think there's going to be anything more. I want to see what this first page looks like. Oh, because it's a TSX, not HTML rendered already, I won't be able to view it without spinning up a development server. Let's run a local environment. Okay, this is what it looks like. It's locally hosted, but I can make it look like a web application. I don't want to actually deploy it. Did a pretty good job. It pulled basically that entire framework here. This is live interactive. Nice. It filters by, there's no clear state, but that works. Add client isn't wired up. Search, let me refresh. Yeah, that's not wired up. It created dual navigation. This is the start to make these things actually work, like what we did in Airtable, is start wiring up and adding business logic. And as I'm writing this, I realized I don't think it ended up implementing the SQL database like in our PRD. I probably have to explicitly ask it to do that. When I click on a new client, I'll just remind it of the data. I want to use Prisma to inspect and view SQLite just because I've built these. I think it's like SQLite 3 was what we ended up agreeing on. As a reminder, this is front end. I'm now building the logic in the back end through Cursor. In many no-code apps like Airtable, the front end and the back end isn't totally separated. Like the data layer is kind of a UI and visual layer as well. It's a lot simpler. You just had to do these things. So yeah, it looks like this was just HTML holder text. Now we're setting up the actual data. It looks like it set up the database. I haven't confirmed that. Yeah, we need a way for the database to talk to our front end. It's creating a service. I think it's an API. And now we're setting up the add client functionality to add to the database. Because this is a CRUD application, I would need to add all of those conditions as well eventually, but I'm just doing the add client right now. As is tradition, the app crashed. But it found it, and it's already starting to solve it. All right, so I click add client, it did nothing. It created a seed script for me to add all of these. And so that it's like persistent. It has a demo or example data. Okay, let's try to install all the packages, dependencies, things that this thing is built on. Okay. And then reset the database. Did I say Common.js? I noticed in the past that ES was being used instead of Common.js. Looks like we're getting into a circular dependency. Great. Enter the name for the new migration. Okay. Database is resetting. Let's seed it with example data. All right, let's see if I can view the data. I just want to see what the backend looks like to see if it's a front end issue or lower into the stack. Okay. Yeah. We want to add this to chat. Looks like it didn't work. There we go. Clients. Yep, great. The script added the clients. It added people with a relational database to each of the clients. Looks like that's all working on the data side. Great. And this is SQLite very lightweight database being inspected or viewed through Prisma. So it looks like it's not a data issue. It's actually a display issue. We'll pull a screenshot. Maybe now is the time to remind ourselves, why are we trying to build our own application instead of using another SaaS? First, it's going to take a little more time to lay this all down, but once we do, one, we own it. Two, that allows us to not have to pay someone else, and it gives us a lot more flexibility. And see, vendor lock-in, we actually own this data on the back end as well. We don't have it on someone else's servers doing whatever they want to it. Hopefully it's worth the effort. If not, it's at least worth the prototype. That's so annoying. It's using ES. I don't know if it's an Anthropic or a ChatGPT thing. So we're gonna accept all this change. Okay. Nope, none of it is working. Refresh didn't work. Nope. Oops. Oh, it changed to localhost 3000. Changed to local host number. Kill that. What's happening? So there's no directory. Keeps on going to the same wrong directory. Okay, let me close all of these. Terminate, kill. It's probably not going to work. It looks like I need to initially. So Prisma is back up. Looks like that might be backup too. Oh, right. Build start server. We're in the wrong folder, I think. Open file and enter. Command click. Was I in 3? Oh no. Okay. That's the difference between no code and AI development on April 30th, 2005. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't.